and welcome to another episode of Control Alt Access. It's a video game accessibility video and audio podcast. I am one of your hosts, Laura, and I'm here as ever with my lovely co-host, Arevya. How are you doing today?
Hello, everyone. Well, we are still surviving, maybe a bit more thriving this week than last, but we are still here.
Yeah, we've both had to do the surviving step, and now we're thriving. We're doing great. Life is good. We're gonna show accessibility who's boss today.
Yes.
We're
How are you
we're
holding up,
recording.
Laura?
I'm holding up all right. We're
that's
recording in the morning, and that brings a certain energy that's not always here on this show. We're both like, oh, I just woke up. I could take on the day.
Finally. Oh.
Whose games that we've played this week do we want to start with today?
I can start though because that list is so small. I don't know about you, but when I ever have like a crisis in my life, I just divert back to going like comfort game, and then I just comfort in a corner, and that is what I've been doing the last couple of weeks. I did Stardew Valley, but I have done Stardew Valley a bit different because hey ho, I'm going to cheat my way through Stardew Valley.
Yeah, tell me about the cheats. What are you cheating?
So I was like, I have done Stardew Valley so many times. Yes, it is a lovely game, but it also is a cognitive draining game because there's so many things you need to remember. So on
I gotta do all my tasks on the day. I gotta remember who I gotta
Yes.
speak to and what I gotta get done before
Yes.
Joja Mart comes in and whatever.
Yep. So I played Stardew Valley. I did use the Steam overlay. I don't know if you guys know about it, but if you go into your Steam overlay while playing in the game, you can get like list on the side of your screen, so you can write whatever you want and have that on the screen. So I'm using that to like keep track on my calendar. So sort of I've handwritten up the calendar and have that overlay a bit like transparent on the side.
Yeah.
And then I have a cheat that does it so that if my hands hurt, I just turn off fishing. So whenever I go over and start fishing, the fish is just caught, and that's it. And
I don't blame you. That fishing minigame is some work.
Yeah, it's fun, but yeah, no. And I have a button I can press where I can look up everything. So as soon as like I go over to villager, or I'm wondering like what does this fruit does or vegetable does, I just push a button and I got up like a little cheat sheet that tells me like what it is ingredients is, or if this villager loves rabbit foot or not. And it is brilliant. It just makes it a lot easier. So I'm cheating my way through it, and I absolutely love it.
Yay! I'm so happy to hear. Sometimes just those little bits of cheat sheet can really help with cognitive load on an experience. I didn't put it on my things I've played this week list, but finally The Binding of Isaac recently has updated to add something in that fan mods have done for years, which is when you find an item in this roguelike, it will now just tell you what the item does if you've found it before. And I'm like, oh, thank you. Just don't make me remember all this stuff. Just tell me the things I need to know.
I understand that there is a charm with having like a Google wiki on the side while you play these games, but that is not always what I want to do. So just having Vortex, which is a mod manager, just like install these things, and I am happy. I also did a cute little thing though. I went to an event, so I finally started to health back to go to events. And at that event, we had like just dancing, and it was an event for people with cerebral palsy. So a lot of the people there were in a wheelchair. If people don't know what cerebral palsy is a brain injury you can get the first year of your life. I have it, and it is go from like mild to moderate to serious. And different people get affected different in their upper body or lower body. So you can have like level 1 in your upper body, level 4 in your lower body, meaning you have no control on a lot of spasms in your lower body, but you don't get affected like that in the upper body, and the other way around.
Yeah.
So a lot of people there were in wheelchairs, and we were just like, okay, but Just Dance is fun. Like, it is just fun dancing. And
Yeah.
I finally really learned how to like set up to get all the songs to be sitting. So
Yeah.
it was me and one of the other people there like got chairs out. So for the people who like, because I was tired, I'm still really tired, like fatigue this autumn, having like
Yeah.
two things happening in my body is like horrible. So he was
Mm.
just like, yeah, but we can sit and dance. So we can dance
Yeah.
together, but we can sit. And I was just like, yes. So we put up, we sat, danced, and some kids came over in wheelchairs and like wanted to dance as well, which was really
Oh.
cool. And like getting people to have fun with games and sort of like interacting, because with the community that I'm traveling around doing all these events with, there is one girl there
Mm.
who is just like really super into K-pop, and she's like a K-pop dancer, and she does like a
Yeah.
lot of, so she's a really good dancer, and kids see this and go like, that is so cool, I also want. But you also see a lot
Oh.
of time they realize I can't, because she does a lot of
Yeah.
just dance just to show it off.
Yeah.
And we're just like, no, you can, come on,
Yeah.
we have songs for you as well. And she is like the most amazing person, because she also like tells everybody like, oh no, you don't need to be so like a much with your expressions as I am. Like
Mm.
the thing of the game is that this is your controller, and this, you just have to move this of how you see it on the screen. The rest of your body, you can just
Mm.
sit there. And so what it ended up with was I played with these two people that are part of this project, and both of them were just like giving it all. She is like really good, and I
Mm.
won because I was just sitting there like really following with one of my arms, and I was just like, yeah, my old ass won over you teenagers.
Oh, that sounds so fun.
It was fun, and it is nice to have like Just Dance, and that they have the sitting routines. And also, if you guys don't know, Just Dance, like the Ubisoft team, also get in people like they are choreographed by people a lot of times that are in
Yeah.
wheelchairs or need to sit a lot. So like this is made by the community. This is not
Mm.
just able-bodied people sitting down and like making things. These are made by
Yeah.
people sitting in wheelchairs a lot of times. So I think it's really cool.
It is so wonderful to hear. Hooray.
Yeah, it was fun. How have you been playing this week, Laura?
Yeah, so I've got a few things on the list this week, not all of which I've played in the last 2 weeks. Some of them are things I played earlier and now I can talk about.
Yes.
It's one of those weeks where games have caught up with me
Yeah.
that I can chat about. But I'll probably get the big one that's at the time we're recording this is still not out for I think like another week or so. I played through Ghost of Yotei, which
Yay.
is the new first-party PlayStation samurai game.
Yeah.
It's kind of a sequel to Ghost of Tsushima. Um, I really love Ghost of Yotei. I think it's a really fantastic game with a couple of really baffling accessibility problems.
Yeah.
It's got a lot of stuff that is well worth praising. For anyone who's not played Ghost of Tsushima or obviously hasn't played Ghost of Yotei, the idea is it is a third-person stealth slash action game that's very story focused. In this one, you are playing as Atsu, a young woman who, as a child, this group of assassins came and murdered all of your family in front of you, and you've decided, I'm going to dedicate my life to becoming a capable fighter and going and tracking them down and killing the people who killed my family.
Mm-hmm.
It is a really interesting story about what things you are willing to sacrifice to get revenge and whether those things are worth it ultimately. But mechanically, it is an action game where you are encouraged to sort of dodge and parry in that slightly Dark Soulsy way in order to get openings where you can get a few hits in.
Yeah.
I think there is some really good stuff in here in terms of cognitive and coordination accessibility.
Mm-hmm.
I really appreciate that this game has very customizable difficulty for lots of different categories. So you can go, oh, I need an easier time with my timing windows. I'm fine with enemy aggression. That can be a little higher, but I need my I need the amount of health that enemies have to be lower. Things like that. There's very effective aim assist for if you're using the bow and arrow or guns for aiming onto enemies, which is really appreciated. There's a lot of visual cues that are very helpful for cognitive accessibility. So if an enemy is going to attack you from off screen with a ranged weapon, you can make the visual effect that tells you that be sort of bigger and more noticeable. If you're trying to navigate to an objective, you can sort of set a pin on your map, and the wind will sort of show you where to go while you're in game to sort of lead you to that objective.
Yeah, because that was the thing in Ghost of Tsushima that they get known for about accessibility, that they had like the world showed you where to go and it's not just an option.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, and that is back in this, but there is an option to make the wind more easily visible.
Oh, cool.
To make it more sort of pronounced and easier to see.
Nice.
Which is really good, and you can sort of trigger it at any time with the touch of the touchpad. There's a couple of really nice things that are just like quality of life for not being frustrated. Anytime there's an escort mission, the character you are traveling with will speed up or slow down to match your speed.
Oh, thank God.
So if you start sprinting, they'll start sprinting. If you start walking, they'll start walking. If you get on a horse, they'll get on their horse and start going at the same speed. And that's so good. There's a lot of really nice stuff in there that is like very helpful for, I need a little extra room, a little extra flexibility in the timings for things in combat. I want the combat to be a little easier if I'm inconsistent with my timings, but it does have problems. And I think like the most obvious issues this game has are around visual accessibility, and particularly lack of contrast. Several of the in-game menus have light grey text on light grey backgrounds. It's really hard to read.
Oh.
The map is light grey, and there is a reticle you use to, like, you know, highlight what town you want to fast travel to or whatever, that is light grey on light grey, and I frequently couldn't see the reticle. There is no high contrast mode support, which is a rarity at this point for first-party PlayStation games.
Yeah.
But there's also other visual accessibility issues that are going to be, like, more of an issue for people with, like, motion sickness. You can find bottles of sake in fights that you can drink to, like, fill back up your meter that can be used for healing. But doing so adds, like, a drunkenness filter over the screen. And it makes it harder to see what you're doing, and is a motion sickness risk, and there's not much you can do about it. And it's a shame, because they're, like, in terms of cognitive and mechanical accessibility, I really like a lot of what this game is doing.
Yeah.
It just feels like visual accessibility kind of fell by the wayside. But there's also a caveat I have to give while talking about this, which is, by the time this episode goes up, I think this goes up on the same day as Ghost of Yotei.
Yep.
There is a day one patch, apparently, that adds, quote, more accessibility features.
Oh.
PlayStation will not say what that patch includes. So I when I read that in my review notes from PlayStation, I was like, okay. I emailed my PlayStation person and was like, can you tell me what those other accessibility features will be? And I never got a reply. So I'm giving a review of the 30 hours I played with it. This is the state of accessibility. If that day one patch comes out the same day as this episode, and, like, they've fixed the contrast issues in the menus and now it has high contrast and whatever, I guess those critiques could go out the window. I don't know. They're not communicating what other accessibility is coming, which is weird when you send out an accessibility review copy.
Yeah, but that is on them, though. Like, that I feel is on them. Because, like, then it's just they who lose on it. Because if you like you tell them which version and that you like are reviewing this before it technically is out and there's patch and all that. Like, this is just bad like publicity for them. That this is a huge oversight, because now somebody might see your review and go, oh no, this game is not for me, and then they lose sales, which is the opposite of what an accessibility review hopefully should have done.
Yeah, my plan is to do a follow-up video on the day that this comes out, just to go, I'll have another look and see if it changes anything fundamentally, and I'll like add a pinned comment to my review, my original review. But yeah, I think it's worth noting that, like, if you are sending review copies to accessibility-focused reviewers like this, it is really to your benefit as a developer to be communicative about stuff that, like, it's not there right now at the time of your review, but you might want to know that it's coming, and, like, you can acknowledge, oh, that thing you're upset about will be fixed. And that kind of communication is really important.
And also, a lot of times when, like, there is a possibility for the developers also to go, this is what we hope for getting in, but we can't promise it. Like, people are okay with that wording, and like, you can like ask, can you? This is what we hope the patch note will include, but we cannot promise. And then just send you a picture, and then you will just show that picture. Yeah.
So yeah, I think it's a fantastic game. I've had a great time with it. Visual accessibility is not where it needs to be, at least from what I've seen.
Yeah.
I did play something new this week that I thought was very silly. I played a game called MegaBonk.
I need to Google this.
Yeah, so let me just double check I got the name right. I believe it's called MegaBonk. I'm now doubting myself.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, MegaBonk.
Yep.
So this is kind of like Vampire Survivors if it was a PlayStation 1 looking 3D game.
Oh my god.
This is one of those millions of enemies are coming at you and you try and get some synergy. All of your weapons automatically attack in certain patterns. So, like, oh, I have the fire wand that will automatically shoot fireballs at the nearest enemy or whatever. Or I've got the sword; it will do a swing, a 180-degree swing in front of me every X number of seconds. So yeah, from an accessibility perspective, much like Vampire Survivors, it's pretty accessible in terms of input complexity. Unlike Vampire Survivors, it can't be played one-handed necessarily because you need camera control. Because where Vampire Survivors is a top-down perspective, you can see what's coming at you at all times. Here, you're having to turn the camera around to see enemies that might be coming from other perspectives. So, like, for some people, that's going to be slightly less accessible. But generally speaking, it is move and look around, and the attacks will happen for you. There's a couple of other little bits of input. You have a jump button, which you can use to try and avoid enemies, for example. There are some differences from something like Vampire Survivors, mostly around things like there are places where you can get free upgrades if you can stay near a location for a set amount of time, which encourages you not to just like back away from enemies constantly. There is a different emphasis on how treasure chests work, that you're basically trying to defeat enemies for money to unlock chests that get more expensive every time you unlock them. But fundamentally, it's one of those dopamine games of, do you just want like billions of numbers happening at you and lots of enemies coming at you, and if you make the right build, everything is instantly dying as it gets close? And it's very satisfying in that way.
I'm watching a video about it right now, and yes, it looks satisfying as hell.
my favorite early character that I unlocked is called Giga Chad. And he has like this zone around him where anything that gets close to him starts taking damage. It's his aura. Oh, you got too close to his aura. You're taking damage from his powerful aura. It's very silly. It's, I believe, £7, so it's pretty cheap.
Yep.
And I've been having a lot of fun with it. It's it's the most fun I've had with something in the Vampire Survivors-y genre in a little while.
Yep. It looks fun though. It looks fun.
Yeah.
It does look maybe a bit like hard on motion sickness because a lot of things is happening on the screen. I feel like a lot of these kinds of games is like an either or for me. That like I can do Vampire Survivor, but I cannot do Brotato.
Yeah, I can't do Brotato either.
No.
I don't know what it is about this one. I found this one easier to get into than a lot of the other not Vampire Survivors is.
That's good though.
And I obviously can't speak for everyone with motion sickness. I have been playing quite a lot of this, including in sessions where I've been quite tired, and it's not had any motion sickness issues for me. I've not taken the time to like nail down what it is about it that's not causing motion sickness, but I've had a pretty comfortable time playing it in that regard, which is nice.
And I also think that it might be because I got triggered, my motion sickness got massively triggered the other day by a GIF of all things.
Yeah?
A GIF. I were in a meeting and we were shown a GIF, and that GIF kept on just being shown on screen while we were talking. And all of a sudden, my stomach was just like, no. And I had to message the person going like, hey, can we stop the GIF? And they went like, no, we cannot, but let me just like go to the next slide and just let everybody know.
I know the GIF. I think I know the GIF you mean.
I was just like, nope, I can't deal with this. I think also, because if I get triggered my motion sickness to that degree of something that isn't technically a motion sickness thing, my motion sickness is a bit like a good while going forward. So that might be the reason watching this video I'm going like, ooh.
I understand what you mean. It's the couple of days of everything setting it off a bit now.
Yes.
Yeah. A couple of other quick ones. Hades 2 is finally out in version 1.0, so that's out in full release. And that has a couple of new accessibility things that I'm happy to see. There's been a couple of little quality of life changes since that game originally was in early access. There's a couple of little tools that I've really appreciated. One of which is, if you always start your runs with the same accessory attached to your character, you no longer need to remember to go and equip that item at the start of a run again. You can set like always start my run with this accessory, and like from a cognitive load perspective, I really appreciate that, because I'll often end up like changing my accessory during a run, and by the end of the run, I'm using an accessory that isn't the one I like starting the run with.
Yeah.
And like that's really good. I have appreciated the ways that this game, like I haven't played this game since February, when one of the early access patches happened.
Yeah.
The game's done a really good job with its writing of reminding me what was happening through the dialogue, because they know a bunch of people will be jumping back into a save they haven't played in 7 months. Which is really good. I really appreciate a lot of the stuff that's been added in for automating button presses. One of the big things they've changed in Hades 2 that I really appreciate is in early access, if you hold down the attack button in Hades 2, you'll like do your default attack a few times in a row, and then you'll start charging a special. So, like, if you're someone that doesn't want to just be tapping the attack button constantly and just be doing the basic attack, you had to keep pressing it because holding it would trigger a different attack. There's now a different button you can hold down that's like, if I'm holding this, when I hold down the attack button, it won't do the special, it'll just act as if I'm tapping the attack button repeatedly.
Nice.
Which is, again, it's nice. It gets around a problem of, I want to be doing a specific part of the attack chain while holding the button down without activating something else. Which is good. Generally, that game just... It's smart little tweaks that have made it more playable, and I'm glad to see that. Last two very quickly. I played a terrible game. this last 2 weeks that I want to recommend people not play. I don't do this often, but I just want to tell people not to play a game I was really excited about. Star Trek Ressurgence is a Star Trek game that's kind of like those Telltale games where you pick your choices, choose what to do, the story plays out. I have 3 problems. First, and this is like not the worst thing in the world, but it adds up, it looks like a PlayStation 2 game.
Yeah.
It doesn't look good. And I could forgive that if it was a good game. But secondly, it feels really cheap and like it cuts corners in a lot of really honestly embarrassing ways.
Ooh.
In something like a Telltale game from a decade ago, you'd like be watching your cutscene and making your story choices, and then you'd like walk around an area to pick what to interact with and who to talk to. Here, when those moments come up, it's just a screenshot, like a JPEG, and you move your cursor between like 3 clickable points on the JPEG to click what scene to move to. It just looks really cheap. And then worst, this game crashes really frequently and doesn't have an ability to manually save it at points of your choice or an autosave. Twice I started playing this game, got about 10 minutes into it, it completely crashed my Switch 2, and then I booted it back up and it wanted me to play through the whole 10 minutes again. And there's no, like, you can't skip through cutscenes, you can't mash through the text, you just have to watch it in real time again.
Oh.
And the whole thing just feels like a cash grab. And it has, like, it's got no settings for, like, changing your text size. It's got nothing for increasing visibility. It's just the most basic, bare-bones presentation it could have been.
But that's also a bit weird, because, like, if you have this Telltale's game, people, like, then it seems to maybe have been made by somebody who doesn't play these games, because one of the things that is fun is that the first time you go through, you're really like reading everything and understanding everything, but then you're like, okay, but on my second run, because a lot of times you play them more than once, I'm going to do the completely opposite. But then you have to like get to a point where you can do a crossroad, and then there is normal for people to just quickly click through everything to get to that point.
Yeah, it really does. It doesn't feel like a game made from a perspective of people who enjoy this genre, for sure. But I do want to end on a really nice one that I want to recommend that I think you would quite enjoy. I played through Lego Voyagers, which is it is a co-op Lego game where you play as 2 little 1x1 Lego bricks. And it's sort of like a It Takes Two kind of game where you're doing co-op adventures where both players are doing something a little bit different to work through puzzles together. It's maybe 4 or 5 hours long, and it's beautiful.
This is so cute.
It starts off as just like a cute little co-op platformer. You know, you can like stick to bricks because you're Lego bricks, and like you can Katamari Damacy yourself a little and pull other things along with you. I did not expect, like, the second half of this to be one of the most beautiful, told with no words stories I've seen in a game in a while. It's really heartbreaking and sweet and lovely.
Aww.
I sat and had a little cry after I finished playing it. It's beautiful. I want to warn people one thing about it, which is that there is a point toward the end that has a little bit of a mechanical difficulty spike. I'm trying to work out how to talk about this area in a spoiler-free manner.
Yeah.
There is a sequence of this game that is cooperatively training for an event that's going to happen. And you go around and do a number of different, like, little exercises. And one of them... there's a couple in particular in this room that require coordination with the other player and precise movements that feel like a real step up in mechanical skill requirement out of nowhere.
Yeah.
It's not. It's the kind of thing where you only have to succeed at these things like once. If you can luck out and do it once, you can just move on.
Yeah.
But there was maybe 20 minutes where me and Jane got really stuck going, this is a game that's definitely going to appeal to children and for like parents to play with children, for example. And I don't see children being able to get through some of these bits here.
Yeah.
There are some bits that just are more fiddly than it feels like this game's difficulty curve justified.
Yeah.
I still think it's really worth playing. As I say, it is a game that tells its story without any need for words.
That's
and
good.
Has some really lovely, like the puzzle complexity in it is very gently ramped in a way that I think is great for cognitive accessibility. It's a really beautiful game, and it's one I do think you would really enjoy.
And also, just because I was Googling it right now, and first, if you Google it, it says it's only on Microsoft. But that's not true. It is on PlayStation as well. I could not find it on Xbox.
Switch as well?
Oh, it's on Switch as well. Well, that's really, really brilliant. Because just so FYI, when I Google it, it might just be my Google results. Google lately has been a bit wonky, but like you can absolutely get it then on other platforms.
Yeah, you can get it on other platforms. And you can play it on different platforms from each other as well, I believe. If one of you buys it, the other person can download a free I'm playing it with a friend who bought it copy.
Good. So
that you can like play it on 2 screens or whatever.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's what I've been playing this week. Shall we talk a little bit about some newsy stuff?
Absolutely. Shall I then just start with Peak? Because like, what have I not done the last like 4 times right now?
Tell us about Peak. What did they do now? What have they done this time?
So I see that like we talked last time about the colorblind mode. So there is a colorblind mode out now. It makes it so that fruit and things do not rely on the color. They will get like actual lines or dots, so you can see the difference between them. You still have to memorize which one is what. Like, is this one with blue with dots on poisonous or not? But it's now easier to see. They also have added now, like just some days ago, I think it was yesterday I saw it, they have now added button remapping. So if you are on if you need to button remap to play it, you can finally do it, which for me is genius. I have had to rely on the macros on my own. I have like a bit of a fancy keyboard that is split in 2, but it also have the program with it where I can macro difference all the buttons on my keyboard. So I have had to rely on that, but finally now you can just rely on doing button remapping, which is really, really good. So yeah.
Hooray! Well done, Peak developers, for being really good about continuing to do stuff.
And the really, really cool thing is that, like, if you follow them on TikTok or LinkedIn, what? TikTok or Blue Sky or somewhere, like somewhere they are to promote the game. They like, I think it's really cool because they make like funny TikToks, right? And the TikTok where they presented the accessibility for button remapping and controller stuff, it was just like they went, we have added what most of you have asked for. We have introduced to you chess. And then they 2 seconds later go, no, we're just kidding. You can now button remap.
Yeah.
And it is like they have this inherent like funniness about it, and they're not afraid of making fun of accessibility, which is, I think it is important because they are normalizing it. Like, news about accessibility is taken as news about a new level coming in, so that it normalizes it. It's like part of their core values, and I think that is a bit important. So yeah, I think that is a bit fun. But quickly, Laura, I need to double check that I'm not saying, because something in my mind now is saying, was it button remapping or controller support? So let me quickly
let's find out.
Check this up
Through the magic
controllers.
of editing.
That is why. Rebindable controllers is what they are. You can now remap your controls on keyboard and mouse or on gamepad. Okay, so it's both. It's both.
Yeah.
We're safe.
Okay. We know what we're talking about.
No need to edit this out because we're safe. No, so absolutely. And I think that is cool that like it is just like, it's so normalized, and I like that because that is where I want accessibility to go towards, where adding accessibility isn't this like, oh look, we have helped the disabled gamers. It's just like, yeah, this is an update like everything else in the game. It's just a part of the game, and I like that from them. I think it's cool.
Definitely. Other ones we can get out the way nice and quickly. This is just an update to a thing that we've talked about a little bit on this show, and I think it's worth mentioning here. We've talked about the fact that like I've not been playing Microsoft games for a while because as has been pointed out by the BDS boycott movement, Microsoft has a lot of ties to the Israeli Defense Force, and a lot of their cloud services are being used in ways that are directly contributing to war crimes against people in Gaza. There was some progress on that front. It's certainly not a full resolution to that incident, but the short version is that Microsoft has revoked access to some of their Azure cloud services for a unit of the Israeli Defense Force. Because after a investigation by The Guardian last year, Microsoft has gone, that investigation was correct at the very least that this specific unit of the IDF was using our cloud services for illegal surveillance and tracking of Palestinians, and we have revoked the cloud services that enabled that particular illegal activity. It is worth noting, this is not a Microsoft pulls out of all of the ways that their services are being used for genocide in Gaza right now.
Nope.
It is a great step along the way. I'm glad to see it happening.
Yes.
It does mean that like pressure is clearly working, and they are feeling the pressure to do this stuff. I'm still not at this moment going to be playing Xbox games at the moment, but this is the direction I want to see things go, and keep going this way, because eventually I might get to play Doom the Dark Ages, and that would be nice.
And I also think we will see this a bit more going forward now that the UN has confirmed that this is happening, a genocide. Like they have now, and we see that like the last 2 weeks, I think it will be when this podcast is out, where people are, like, companies are rapidly changing tone. Which I think a bit sad that it's a bit like, hey, this is a bit late. People have told you guys long before, but I am glad to see that the new information at least is doing something.
It's getting to the point where like lots of countries are starting to go, oh, maybe we do need to acknowledge that Palestine is a place that exists and not pretend it's not a state that exists. It's like it feels like a tide is turning. And we'll see where that goes. Yeah,
and I'm also really glad to see that internally, a lot of Microsoft's own, the people working there, so their own employees, have done strike, and they have like been quite vocal about it, like internally as well. So I'm glad to see also that is like now getting to them. Like, hey, we are really, really against this. So I'm glad to see
that. Another story we got this week that is just like positive to see, and I know a lot of people aren't going to think of it as an accessibility thing. The president of Brazil has signed a law into effect that bans loot box sales to people who are under 18, starting in March of next year. It's part of a wider digital protection law trying to protect young people from abuse and exploitation online. And I think this is fantastic, because we've talked before about the fact that loot boxes are gambling. They're a form of gambling that is considered okay to sell to children. And we've talked about the fact that like predatory loot box style microtransactions particularly prey on disabled people with impulse control disabilities, compulsion disabilities, lots of different kinds of disabilities. And childhood access to those forms of gambling makes those issues with problem gambling use as a disabled person way worse in adulthood.
And
so yeah, well done for at least saying that should be only for adults.
yes, and also I think it is important, and this is also, I think, sometimes we in the disability and chronic illness community also need to look inwards, because I talk to a lot of people and they look at addiction as a human flaw. They don't look at it as an illness, which it is. And accessibility is supposed to help everybody. That includes people who have an addiction, which is an illness. It is a mental illness. Like, we need to help them. It's stuff.
Yeah.
There is so many times, even in our own space, our ableism is showing, especially around addiction. And it is, come on.
It's the same kind of ableism that I see pop up around conditions like diabetes.
Yes.
Like conditions that, like, certain members of the disabled community will go, oh, that's not a real disability, that's a thing that you did to yourself that's your fault.
Yes.
And that kind of attitude is terrible and is a thing we really need to, like, call out when we see it.
Yes, and I do understand that also, like, addiction is an illness that affects more than just the one person, but that is an uncomfortable conversation to have, that a lot of our illnesses, even my illnesses, do not only affect me, it affects my husband and my family and my workplace. That isn't unique to addiction, even though it is much more often visible that it affects people around. So we should absolutely be glad when we have something that makes things more accessible for people with these illnesses. So yeah.
Agreed. Yeah. As someone that has to avoid loot boxes because I know they would be real bad for me, and that knows about family history of addiction compulsion. Yeah, I applaud any kind of move that reduces the prevalence of children getting hooked on gambling.
Yeah.
I think last for this week is we got some details about the GA Conf USA schedule for this year, which is happening pretty soon. I forget exactly when it's starting.
So when we record this, it will be in 2 days, and when we're releasing this show, it most likely they're done. But it's really, really nice first, like, telling you guys, because you can go back on their YouTube and you can see the whole live stream. So they might not be the individual videos, it's not uploaded yet, but you can go into their YouTube, go to the tab called live streams or live or whatever they're called on YouTube, and then on there you can find the DAConf to find the talks here we talk about. That sounds fun.
So we'll run through some of those talks quickly. There is a talk about abiotic factor, which I've talked about on this show before. Talking about some of the accessibility stuff they did, including their work on a misophonia mode. There is a talk about the audio focus feature on PS5. This is the thing that I've been using to raise the volume of voices in games system-wide. That's really helpful. Maximizing accessibility for micro indies, which is a roundtable discussion including developers who worked on stuff like I've completely forgotten the name of it, Mythwrecked, for example, and a couple of other indies of that sort of scale. There is a talk about facilitating discovery in 3D games for blind and low vision players. One about positive disability representation in video games. Someone from Able to Play is giving a talk about accessibility data. EA is giving a talk about their accessibility program. Microsoft is giving a talk about accessibility in South of Midnight. Squeakross, which my lovely wife Jane did accessibility consulting on, is getting a talk about its accessibility stuff. There is a talk about the accessibility of movement and momentum, which I'm very interested in. There's one about user research how user research tends to exclude disabled people and how to fix that. Another one about gaming with ADHD. One about automated testing for video game subtitles. Arcade games and playing them with a single arm. VR gaming accessibility, and how to work with the Accessible Games Initiative's accessibility tags.
Yes.
A bunch of those are really interesting things that I want to make time to listen to.
Yes. And also, I think there might be some more talks, but please do go and look at their website for more of them. Remember that it costs money to go to the event, but the event is streamed for free online. And if you just register for free, you can get access to their Discord, where the people who has done this talk will sit and chat with you, and whoever wants to chat. And there is a really good community on that Discord where you can talk about the talks, and also get to know a lot of brilliant other people. So yeah.
Indeed. All right, I think that's everything this week.
That is everything.
Well, Arevya, where can people find you on the internet at the moment?
You can find me under Arevya, except for TikTok, because somebody stole my name. There I am, Arevya Gaming. And if you are listening to this and you come over to my thing, you just will see a lot of things about Japan. I am on my honeymoon when you're listening to this, and I am living my best life in Japan, which is going to be interesting because traveling there, having an active problem going, is going to be interesting. But this is just life with a chronic illness, and a bunch of them, and disabilities. Sometimes we just have to jump into it. So it will just be happy and also a bit stressful, dealing with food and stuff when you have a stomach problem. But hey, we're going to do the best out of it and get a lot of laughs. I already have gotten my first laughs, which is that I downloaded an eSIM for my phone so that I can use a Japanese network while I'm over there, so it doesn't rack up like $1 billion in phone things. And now I cannot use my phone without it having a shutter sound on my camera, because that is illegal to have in Japan. So I got scared out of my knickers yesterday, sitting on a sofa, going to take a picture, and the phone goes when I took the picture. Yeah. It is a really horrible story, understandably, why Japan has it. They have had problems with sneaking pictures on tubes and stuff, so I understand why it have it, but I was shocked that it ended up on my Norwegian phone, bought in Norway with a Norwegian SIM card, but they were just like, nah, you are going to come to our country, here you go. That made me laugh, and okay, well, that's just how it is. Laura, where can I find you?
I can be found at Laura K. Buzz pretty much everywhere on the internet. Oh, what's that? I can be found at Laura K. Buzz pretty much everywhere on the internet. YouTube, Twitch, TikTok, Patreon, that's the one that pays the bills. I've recently refreshed my Patreon, so it's looking all shiny and snazzy. I got stuff coming out at the moment. I don't know what it is that I'll have going up, but you can watch my Ghost of Yotei accessibility review. Probably a follow-up video about what accessibility stuff is in the day one patch. That'll probably be one of those. I won't be doing Queer Unpleasant Strangers for a few weeks because I'm going to be doing a Bridge Command campaign for a bit, but look forward to a review of Bridge Command Campaign 2 coming in the future weeks. I'm looking forward to posting that. And I'm looking forward to posting a episode of Fix Your Heart or Die talking about the film I Saw the TV Glow, which is coming up, so look forward to that. Thank you very much, everyone, for watching. We hope you've enjoyed. We will be back in a number of weeks with another episode. We've not looked at schedules yet, but we'll work it out. We'll be back soonish. Thank you very much, everyone. Goodbye.
Bye.